behold, the hurricane season comes, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, as well as our neighbor in Puerto Rico, were hit by hurricanes. The U.S. Virgin Islands by 2 Category 5 hurricanes. I'm trying to focus now my attention here in Congress on rebuilding and reminding members of Congress that part of the reasons that the hurricanes were able to strike us and have the level of destruction is because of the disparity in funding that we received throughout the many years. Our roads, if you look at some of the roads after the hurricane, have just lifted and disappeared. Downtown Charlotte-Amalie on St. Thomas, the area of Frederiksted, historic town of Frederiksted on St. Croix, have flooded completely. If there's a heavy rain, it's flooding. And we're still within the hurricane season. It's still raining tremendously on the islands. I gave a statistic to some members that over 3,000 people applied to have roofs put back on through the Army Corps of Engineers temporary roof program. And last week, they had done maybe 300 out of those 3,000. That's from September 6th until now. And during that time period, people have to remember that it's still raining. 50% of our GDP is tourism. Virgin Islanders, as people of color, have recognized that we may not be treated the same, and we look to ourselves to do what's necessary. I'll give you an example on St. John, which was completely cut off after the hurricanes and had the most devastation. They self-organized and cleared the roads themselves. Not waiting for the Army Corps and Department of Defense and FEMA to get there. They recognize that, listen, we're going to have to get to our elders, we got to get to the roads, we've got to get supplies in here. And people, if you looked out, people had chainsaws, machetes in their own hand doing what needed to be done. The timeline, it's going to take years for rebuilding. If you talk to people after Katrina in Louisiana, there's still areas that are still devastated after the hurricanes there. So we recognize that this is going to be a 5, 10, 12-year endeavor. But I really see this as an opportunity for us, right? We can really rethink who we are, be strategic about the rebuilding, recognize that we can't just be dependent on tourism. While we love to have visitors, that really relies on the vagaries of people's disposable income, and you cannot sustain your economy on that. So how do we build other areas, data centers, using wind and solar, maybe having us be a hub for other types of energy. 2 things that people can do under 2 areas. Adopt school. The other thing that I'm really encouraging people to do is to call their member of Congress and ask them, demand that they recognize the support that's needed. On Facebook, you can see the Virgin Islands Adopt a Family. And they're great organizations. Our governor has really put forward the Community Foundation of the Virgin Islands, where Tim Duncan and others have sent their funding, or the St. Croix Foundation. And then, of course, there's the usual ones. You can talk to the Red Cross and ask them to direct the funding to the Virgin Islands, or to your own faith-based group. Catholic Charities or Lutheran Social Services are doing great work in the Virgin Islands.